I am Niver, and this is Niver Niver Land Live. Please. Matt said it great. This is a surreal moment that anybody would pay to come and hang out here with me. Feels still weird, even though this is my job, to get people to come and spend money and hang out with me. I don't know how to say this exactly. I've been trying to work on it, because when I say this, I don't want it to seem as though I'm self-interested. I hate that. But I have to say that when I started looking at the guest list for this show, I knew that you were here to see Jessi and Robb. But it was very clear and so fucking cool to know that most of you are here to see me. Do you know how I know? Because I know you. And that's how I know. I talk to you, I've seen you in my restaurants, and you're here now. And when you do a podcast, which is kind of like a blog, right? It's a blog. And we used to make fun of bloggers. Sorry. But a podcast is like that. And you don't, you're talking into the mic, you're talking into the air, and you don't necessarily know who's listening. And I'm always surprised when someone does. But this is cathartic for me. This has been, if you listen at all, you've been literally following my recent life and the things that I'm trying to do and change. And the folks that I bring to the table are folks that are fantastically helping me along the way. So yes, it's about Jessi. And yes, it's about Robb. And yes, it's about Niver. But Niver Niver Land really is taking a cool shape for me. The fact that you're here in support of me is just crazy, and I am appreciative. Much love, fam. Thank you. I need some sponsors, but I'm gonna act like I'm doing sponsors for a minute here. Eat Disco Dogs, aren't they delicious? This is my guy, Brad Tesloff. Eat Disco Dogs on Instagram. If you need some Disco Dogs for your party, let him know. I want to make sure that I said thank you to Lindsay Bruce. Lindsay? She's not here. She said
she had an engagement tonight.
She's getting engaged?
No. Well, no, she just did, though.
Oh.
Yeah, so that's cool.
Cool.
Too.
All right. Lindsay from Beam Suntory helped us with our booze tonight. Eric Eastman, longtime friend, coolest cat ever. You can see that big chunk of ice and all of these beautiful punches, and all over the States. Minnesota Ice, that's my guy. Eric, thank you for what you helped us with. This is not, there he is, he's in the back. This is not a for-profit event. These two decided that we should take any proceeds and make a donation to another rally. Nonprofit, it's a nonprofit and financial and educational resource for the hospitality industry. And so if you want to check that out or you want to see my receipts, I'm right fucking here. Anotherrally.org. And people need help in this business. Damn, shit's hard. Tonight wasn't hard, was it, Jessi? Everybody, Jessi Pollak. This was easy.
I love making punch. Punch is the best. You just put it in a glass and then people drink it.
Yeah, and it's just so easy to go with, right? They're party slammers. It's lovely to have you here. You've been on a whirlwind. Well, I mean, you've been climbing for a few years here, but you've been on a whirlwind tour the last year or so, right?
I've been on a whirlwind year, I would say.
Literally one of the best in the world. That's wild.
Thank you. Yeah, I had the pleasure of winning World Class United States Bartender of the Year last year.
Yes. It's so cool. It's so cool. And so then you went on beyond to a world's competition?
I did. So every year, World Class is the largest bartending competition that exists in the world. And I competed against over 50 other bartenders that were each representing a different country. And we competed in Sydney, Australia in September. And I made 6th place in the world.
Robb, what have you done?
I created a human. He's not here yet, but he'll be here soon.
It's a he.
What's that?
It's a he.
It's a boy.
Did it? Were we supposed to know that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, the only people we didn't want to know were my parents, and I don't know if anyone knows Barrett. Does anyone know Barrett?
Yes.
Johnson? She like doxed the gender of my baby to my parents one night. I just have to tell them. So don't ever tell anybody if you don't want your parents to know.
So you're going to be the best dad in the world.
I don't know if that's true, but
You want to start with the U.S. first?
And maybe in like my world. Yeah.
Robb Jones, Meteor Bar, Minneapolis.
Thank you.
Robb was my bar dad for many years, and so I think I can like verify that he's going to be a good dad.
What does that mean to you?
Well, when I started working at Spoon and Stable, Robb was the bar manager at that point, and he did the things that a dad does, which he was like on us and yelled at us, but also we always knew he had our backs, and he took care of us too.
When did you figure out that he knew that you were special?
I think it was when he tossed me his keys on the way out the door and said, "It's yours now."
No, I think very quickly, like, Jessi's amazing, like, very obviously, but, like, I think, I noticed Jessi was, like, promising when she started, like, really caring, like, to the point where, like, she was caring about things more than me, like, which is great, right? That's what you want in the people that, you know, you lead. And it was, yeah, Jessi's amazing. And just the fact that she took interest in competitions, period, it was so cool to me, because I used to love competitions, and her getting involved and then like crushing it, and like to the point where like, I mean, the list of things you've accomplished like in this industry, like in the last like 5 years, like is pretty fucking incredible. Like seriously, I'm incredibly proud of Jessi, and I always have been.
Yes, and you should be, but also, what was it maybe that you picked up on? You said she cared not too much, but you could tell that she had the interest.
Well, I mean, yeah, like I think it's great, especially like owning a bar now and like operating a bar, but not being there quite as much. When my team calls me out on shit is like the best thing in the world. Like, is like making sure my standards are where they're supposed to be is like the best thing ever. So, and I think it was a lot of that, but it was also just, I think being honest with me about what was happening and just being honest in general, like you need to be honest if you're going to have a successful team. Like you just do. You need to be honest with each other. Otherwise, nothing's going to work. So it was a lot of that.
Super cool. I can say that the result has been, well, while you were working together and after, that both of you have really just shined. It's just amazing. But you take people with you. You take people with you or you don't. You're the type of person that takes people with you and teaches them something and allows them to maybe learn more than you, or you're protective of that. And you don't let somebody kind of learn more than you. YC, I love this. It's totally YC, young chef. When Adam Eaton came here to open up Dinette, he said, I taught Adam everything he knows. I didn't teach Adam everything I know. That sounds very YC, doesn't it? But if you have a team and you want to actually teach somebody everything you know, you're empowering them to go do their thing. I'm not saying he gave you the keys to the car. You had the keys to the car the whole fucking time. But when you have a partner, when you have a team,
Exactly.
things like this result in things like this. You own the best bar in town, and
It's one of the best bars. Well, it's because it's like one of the only actual bars. Like, everything else is a restaurant, right?
I'm glad
It's
that
like,
you clarified that is what I meant.
it's the bar. It's actually probably the most successful hot dog restaurant in Minneapolis. Is really what it's trying to do now. If you, I could show you guys a P-Mix. It's the fucking hot dog restaurant.
I mean, I think what you said, I've only been a leader for a few years now, and I've made just about every mistake that it's possible to make. But part of what you learn along the way is that if you're doing it right, you should want the people that you're leading to end up better than you, right? Like, I want to get like left in the dust. Like, that's the goal eventually.
I think it is. And I think there's a healthy competition that I always feel with you all about who's better and who's what. And it's a certain drive, you know, like, and there's different levels that we're all trying to achieve too. It's not that we're all going for demi level. It's not that we're all going for, you know, the spot level. We have a lot of different things to achieve.
I think I'm honestly really at the point where I'm more concerned about the individual success of all of my team members, because I think collectively, if they're going to be amazing, it's going to make my bar amazing, and it's going to allow them to maybe go open another great bar that I can help them with or be part of. I think it's way more important than like what we're achieving. Like, I see the things, I see the published things. Like, I saw we're like number 3 for the voter choice shit or whatever.
Say
Again.
that louder.
We
Say that
came
louder.
We came in 3rd.
In what?
I don't know what it actually is. I think it's. I pay attention to those things less than I used to, but those things are great and they're good for notoriety. But you know, if the bar wasn't busy, I'd be more worried about it. But we're doing okay. So
The bar wasn't always busy.
no.
The bar wasn't always busy.
The bar, we opened and the bar closed almost immediately. So you know,
That's fucked.
yeah,
You can't. I mean, how do you run a business when it's closed, Rob?
You start selling hot dogs to people on the internet, and then you turn into a hot
You
dog
did
restaurant.
great.
Thank you.
You did great. It was so
I'm sorry I'm not selling Mucci's frozen pizzas anymore, but
they take too damn long to cook, bro.
they took too long to cook, you
Yeah.
guys. And if anything that people
You need a
can
hotter
take
oven.
away from this is please stop asking if we sell pizzas, and please stop calling to see if we're a pizza restaurant. The amount of people that would call and ask if we're a Mucci's was absolutely insane. It was once a week for the first couple of months. It's like, so this is a Mucci's though, right? Like, you know, we have frozen pizzas, but if you want to go to Mucci's, you should go to Mucci's because it's way better.
But now you do hot dogs.
Now we're a hot
Thanks
dog
a lot.
restaurant. Yes.
Yeah. How's the hot dog thing working out for you? I know.
So
That's
good.
why we did them tonight. I love it.
Those corn dogs
That's
are
enough.
fire. They're so good.
Thank you, Brad. Thank you. Yeah.
If we had asked like 10 years ago, if we had asked Robb Jones that if you would own a hot dog restaurant, where what do you think you would have said?
Oh my God, 10 years ago, I think 5 years ago, even earlier than that, I was saying like I never want to have my own place because it's just like seeing what happens, like the ins and outs of things is terrible. It's like not.
Don't tell the people that it's terrible.
It's not like
It's great.
no, it's great. Yeah, it's a dream. I mean, it is a dream come true. Like, it's pretty cool that it happened, but I really never set out to do it. Like originally, I just kind of did it. I don't know.
But when you get things going, dude, they just kind of roll out. Now look at you. In that place. It's so, well, now
the
look
hot
at you.
dog king of North Minneapolis.
Rob's partner told him to change his shirt before he came today.
Well, I had a watermelon punch, and I was pretty sure I was gonna spill punch on myself, but that's fine. She was more worried about it than me. So
Why
It didn't happen. I still have a stain on
look
it.
good?
Sorry. I hope I look okay for everybody.
Jessi, I'm going to come back over here for a little bit with you. Rob, that was lovely.
Thank you so much.
That was lovely.
Everyone's really here to see Jessi anyway. I would do that much.
That's because I chose my own shirt. All right, I chose it. Nobody told me to wear it.
You too. You. No. Punches. I just want to kind of get into the drink. Did you like my drink? Did you try it? Did you like it? Tell me. Did you like my drink? Wasn't it lovely?
Yes, it was a good drink.
Did it have herbal notes?
I don't know if it had herbal notes. Was it supposed to? And I didn't
No,
pick up
it's
herbal
not
notes?
supposed to.
Fantastic.
This is the start of how we talk about punches and also the evolution of cocktails. I know that's like a weird, rough entry. Sorry.
That makes me way more comfortable than talking about myself or anything else. That's why you should just keep talking to Jessi.
So we met just briefly over one coffee, SK Coffee in the Vandalia building. It's amazing, by the way. And we were kind of thinking and talking about what we were going to do tonight. And easy enough, punches. We picked a day and punches came to mind. So now that we know a little bit about you, I just want to talk about what you made for us today, because everybody had it. It was delicious. We just let us have it. Tell you what you made.
Yeah. I really do enjoy making punches. I think in many ways, making a great punch is actually more challenging than making a great cocktail. That balance can be really challenging. So I made sort of a variation on one of my favorite cocktails, which is a jungle bird. And a jungle bird is traditionally a rum cocktail with pineapple, lime juice, and Campari for that like bittersweet element. And I made it with Sipsman lemon drizzled gin. So that's gin that's infused with lemons. And then kept the pineapple. And then I made a strawberry oleosaccharum. So that's one of the oldest cocktail ingredients that exists. When you're making an oleosaccharum, you're making a syrup without any heat to it. So you only get like really fresh strawberry flavor to it, just like nothing cooked. And then for the bitter element, instead of Campari, I made a cold brew syrup. And that's partially because my partner teases me all the time, actually, because I'm obsessed with pineapple and coffee as a flavor combination. It's one of my favorites. So, yeah, that's what I made tonight.
Thank you. It's delicious. And Rob,
I made
you brought olives. We were talking about this, and you're like, I'm going to bring olives.
I made a punch that was it's based on a salad that I think I used to make at a place that I used to work. I was a cook for a long time, and this is a salad. I think it was like, so does everyone remember Marshall Fields? So I was a cook at a deli in a Marshall Fields. It was my first real cooking job outside of Pizza Man. And there was a chef called, was it like Todd English? Or is that a hairstylist? Marshall Fields did this like celebrity chef makes salads for the deli thing for a minute. And it was like, that was one of his salads. I tasted that punch. You guys are very nice. That was sweet as fuck. I'm sorry. I tasted it at the end. I don't know what happened, but and then Jessi's like, yeah, I didn't want to tell you, which is great. Because she has to be competing all the time.
Number 6.
Yeah. It was like this salad with watermelon and like fennel and olives and feta cheese or some kind of cheese. I don't know. I could probably make it. Anyway, the salad was really good. The punch is pretty good deal too.
I love the salinity of the
do you want to know what's in it? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry. I'm just going to keep talking about the punch like as a theory.
Tell us more about your other
going, Rob.
favorite salads.
Yeah.
So what other salads do you want to make into cocktails?
You could make Cobb, right? I feel like I bet like Nick Kosovich has made a Cobb salad cocktail at some
Probably
point.
is.
Like ham, some kind of animal blood. Hams.
Very, very exploratory.
I love Nick.
See, now this is, you all are too polite. That's why I asked when you tasted my drink, did you like my drink? Like tear it up a little bit. Because you know what? I sweat and I toiled over that thing. I strained it and I strained it. And I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. Guess what? I never made a milk punch before for 75 people. Never in my life.
Yeah, I mean, I was
Tell me
impressed
how good it
you
was.
got
Did it
fancy
suck,
with
guys,
it.
or what? Come on. You're the best in the world. Tell me you love it. You hated it.
It was a great punch.
So not convincing.
I'm not a milk punch guy. So that's just.
So I'm into milk punches now because I spent 20 hours this week straining shit. I got it up to my fucking elbows.
Did you
Rob.
use like the chemicals and stuff? Like
Chemicals?
Well, it's not. It's like, I don't know. Where's Marco?
Lemon juice.
Yeah, you just said, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I had never done that before, and the way that you were talking about making big batches with punches really hit home with me because I took half of my stuff and I'm like, I'm going to do half. Because if I do the whole thing and it doesn't taste good, I don't know how I'm going to unfuck it.
Yeah, that's legit.
So I did half, and then I had to adjust sugars, and I tried to get the coconut flavor to come up, and it was... So there's like 5 gallons of this punch back there.
You just had to keep adding stuff?
No. And then I saw you guys measuring shit. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh, yeah,
They're measuring shit.
We just threw stuff in a bowl.
No,
that's
you
how we
had
do.
a book. You had a book with calculations.
It's true.
I just made a tiny cocktail and then I scaled the cocktail up.
Did you measure and it still came out too sweet?
I think it rested and then something happened.
The sugar bloom.
It was
Absolutely, I hate when the sugar bloom.
It was
like
like
that.
we were tasting it and it was like dry. Like we tasted it and now it's just sweet. It tastes like
It was good.
I'm
Rob.
sorry. Give everyone diabetes.
So, punches are an easy way to have some sort of expression for a number of people. But your practice is way more specific than that. I'm not sure that people understand how hard bartending is. So you take a server and you add half a chef, and then you put a little manager on top of it. And then if you're at all important, you're trying to make it work financially, right? This is not a regular job. I know that bartenders, walk into their work and I've pulled a few bar shifts in my life, never been trained really professionally. Nobody trained anybody bartending. You knew how to make the basic stuff back then. But I just think that what y'all do in terms of extra work during the night is not necessarily seen. The hustle is beyond. The server's got 5 freaking tables. You guys are doing stuff for the entire restaurant. So to me, there's just this special thing that y'all do. And then you have to talk to people and make them like you as well. I mean, on top of all of the stuff that you do.
And you can't escape them.
You can't escape them. They're staring at you.
Like servers get to go do something. Whatever they do. Go talk and check their phone.
Yeah.
Like, we're just
it's true. Do you hide?
I have never once hidden from a guest.
I could name 10 people
I didn't
now.
say guest.
We've been known to hide occasionally.
Yes.
That's all right. Space is an important part of a good relationship, you know?
Oh, it really is. And especially when you don't have it to begin with. It's looking at you. And then you kind of have some fame on top of that, you two. Like people, they look at you and they're like, that's Robb. That's Robb from Meteor.
I don't think people do that anymore.
Anymore?
To be honest, I don't think people do that anymore.
They used to do it a lot.
There was 2 weeks, probably.
People still come to Spoon and Stable, though, to be fair, and say that Robb Jones used to make them this or that.
Oh, name drop.
So I still get
Name
a little bit of that
drop.
at Spoon and Stable.
What specifically?
Yeah, what drink?
That's fine. Olivettos. I'm just kidding.
Something easy. He poured the best shot of Fernet, that Robb. Best shot of Fernet.
He's a real pro at that. No, it's fun working on a bar with a little bit of a legacy. Yeah, we've got, I can be like, yeah, he does make good drinks. You should go to Meteor and drink those drinks.
Yeah, take your clothes off over a Meteor. You can do that there.
They love
You can't
that
do
there.
that here at Spoon Stable. People take their clothes off in your bar? On Monday nights?
Oh, no, that's Sundays. That's
Sundays.
It's the first Sunday of every month.
So they do
Like
take their
7.
clothes off?
Yeah, we do some burlesque / drag stuff there, and it's fun as fuck.
Texas burlesque?
Ooh, wait, is that no? That's
They
probably
don't
not-
allow it, bro. That's what I'm saying.
I know it's not Portland style. I know that. I'll just say that.
Robb, this brings me to your inclusivity. Like, the way that you run your bar is so fucking cool.
That's so. We ended up just kind of turning into the queer cocktail bar, which is great. So it's a hot dog restaurant that's / gay bar. I think 80% of our team is queer. It's it's great. It's like, it's fun as fuck. We get like the best guests ever. Yeah. Just
Oh, but
kind of
your
happened.
staff too, you know, like just the way you run it's admirable. You see everybody's a little different, everybody's cool. That's just an openness that you provide to that place, dude, and that's just killer.
They all
especially
just
these
genuinely
days.
love each other, and it extends to the guests, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Don't you think? So,
Pretty
Rob,
cool.
one more thing. Your slogan is old ass bar, good ass drinks. Can you unravel that for us a little bit?
The building that Meteor is in has been a bar for like 120 years. It was built as essentially like a tap room for Grain Belt, which was Minneapolis Brewing at the time. It turned into a bar called Frank's after World War II, like post-Prohibition. A guy named Frank ran it for a long time. He then left it to his kids, and it started being more of a third shift bar. And people started falling asleep at the bar and drinking a lot. So they took all of the chairs and stools out, and they turned it into stand-up Franks, which everybody over 60 has a story about and wants to come and tell us all the time, which is great. But it is great. It's super endearing, and it's almost the same story verbatim. It's you would go there and you would order your whiskey and ginger or whatever, and they would fill it with alcohol up to like here, and then do a splash of whatever mixer you were having. And if you bitched, they would add more alcohol to it, and they would say something nasty about you, and then tell you can leave if you don't want it.
No wonder it's been a bar for 120 years. That's exactly what we want.
Yeah, the legacy of that sounds amazing. Apparently, there's no doors in the bathrooms and no stalls in like either bathroom. It sounded crazy. I was a little too young to go there, and then I moved to Phoenix and did some stuff, so I never saw that.
Did you ever make it to BJ's around the corner?
I made it to BJ's. BJ's was cool. BJ's was
the neighborhood for how many years?
It was like a Portland dive bar. It was like the only one we had. It was like the Deuce Deuce. I went to the Deuce Deuce more because I lived right over there by Grumpy's too when I moved back. So, but yeah, and then it was a zombie bar for a minute, and then it was like a weird private sex club for like a year.
Which year?
When we bought the building,
different kind of hot dog restaurant.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those hot dogs were there when we moved in. Yeah, when we took the building over, there was a vagina painted on the front door, and there was a little door knocker, and it was where like a piercing would be. I don't think so. That was weird.
And that's
anyone
how
gave a
you're
shit
a
about that.
dad.
Now I'm a dad.
Full circle.
And the drinks are good. That's the good
The
ass
drinks are good ass.
We sell good drinks
They're
to people.
good ass drinks. Thanks for unraveling that for us.
Thank you. That was a great
really
question.
nice.
Are there any salad-inspired drinks on the current menu?
New menu training tomorrow. And I forgot. Salads? Yeah. Oh yeah, but there's a beet drink on there.
Yeah, because that's
With like beet and
you
chocolate.
got to be able to go all places with
Always
cocktails.
salads. Yes.
That takes me back to 2006 when I and some friends opened up a restaurant called the Town Talk Diner. And when we did that, yeah, it was good. Thank you. Thank you. Please. It wasn't that good. When we opened that place, there was no... It was crazy. People told us not to go there. There was the needles in the alley and whatever. And I was kind of fresh off Aquavit and the fine dining part of my career. And cocktails really were, dive bar cocktails. It was soda, it was booze, it was rocks, it was a shot, it was whatever. And then we got Kosovich in the room and Aaron Johnson and a bunch of those other guys. And all of a sudden, they're just shaking everything. They're like... beets, dill, everything, citrus, and we were shaking when we shouldn't have, and we were stirring when we shouldn't have. But it was the wild, wild west of cocktails, and what we fucking came up with was so damn good. Yeah. But you can't do it like that anymore. We ran ourselves out of business doing that shit. That was hard, But
So you guys were like grabbing like lime wedges and squeezing them into like tins like to order, and like it was like, you know what I mean? It was before this, like the craft cocktail thing was efficient, and it was like, you know what I mean? Like,
because craft cocktails they weren't a thing.
Yeah, they were just not here. Just everything was coming from like the coasts.
The coasts.
And it hit us.
You could feel it and you can understand it, and that was like, you know, like I guess it was Aquavit where we were doing all kinds of infusions and things like that, and we had some cool cocktails, and you could be inventive, but it was with the products on the shelf. It wasn't really with much else. And then, you want to say something? Say something.
Yeah, I mean, that ties exactly back though to what we were talking about earlier of like, you know, I want the people that work for me to be better than me at some point, of like, I wouldn't be here if I weren't standing on your shoulders. You had to do some weird shit for me to figure out what I'm doing now, you know?
Yeah, you really do. And that's kind of the expansion of it. It really should never stop. But in that time, in that era, that was a moment where we were all seeing, you know, the start of what we could possibly have today. Then we opened up the strip club, and it was a little tighter, but we never measured shit. Like I was talking about, we never measured a drink. It was kind of like take something off the shelf, and then syrups and tonic, and we were thinking about salinity, and that was like 08, 09, and we were starting like, okay. And then everybody's making a drink at home from there on. Everybody like, you know, they're reading about it. The beer nerds know every beer that's released, you know, like, and then these people know a ton of shit now. 20 years later, they've been drinking like crazy. We all have, but it's true. And so this evolution of drinks and who was doing what, and it was just beer, it was just this, and now I'm even making a milk punch over here.
He's still straining it 2 years later.
And he'll be running it as a special at Saint Dinette for the next month and a half, everybody.
Both ways to school, and I strained uphill both ways home. But what I'm saying now, I think, is the fact that how things have evolved now. Do you have to be really fucking fancy to do something totally different, or can you old ass bar, good ass drink it?
The least important part about what happens in our bar, and I tell our team this all the time, is the cocktail. Well, no, that's not the least important thing, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is like making sure that people leave like happier than when they came in. And like the drinks, like I don't think that we necessarily have like the best drinks in town all the time, but I think they're fucking good, and they're like good enough to charge you $12 for. But I think the best cocktail in the world is a daiquiri, you guys. Like, it doesn't have to. You don't have to get that weird. Like, there's a reason we have way too much fucking mezcal behind the bar, because you should just hang out and drink some mezcal. And maybe it's not necessarily about the cocktail as much anymore. And like, the more people learn about things and ingredients, I think we'll get out of that thing. It's like, because what's like, where do we get eventually? Like, where are we going, right? Like, I thought everything had been done like 10 years ago. Like, I don't know what's next. Like, there's some really cool other stuff that's happening in town for sure, and like that people are doing. But like, I think there's like a limit. At least with what we're looking at and what we want to do, I think in our bar program, it's like very much just let's have a couple of the weird things for people, like the things that people have to think about, and the 15 ingredient things. But like, let's try to keep it to like 3 or 4 ingredients. My favorite cocktails are like 3 or 4 ingredients. It's a daiquiri. The daiquiri is the perfect cocktail.
So, Rob, that's cool, and that fits where he works. That fits where you are. You have some different pressures, maybe, when you're creating something, huh?
I do. However, I think most cocktail consumers, like people who make cocktails at home, would probably be a little surprised if they dug into the cocktail recipes for my bar, because they are very simple. I focus on sort of the technique of things, of making cocktails really precisely, making sure that the people who work for me can make a great drink. But again, that might be just making a great daiquiri or a great Negroni. A lot of the cocktails on my, most of the cocktails on my menu don't require any sort of like crazy tools or special preparation. It's just layering ingredients and doing it in a like technically precise way.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done anything technically precise in my...
You pour a great shot of Jameson.
Yes. Oh my God, and so many of them. I got really good at it. And we had to stop. Those days are over, dude. Yeah. That party time at work like that, that was dangerous. I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of all of that, by the way, but it was fun. We fucked shit up for like 8 years over there up on the hill. Nobody came up there after dark. It was great. We just partied till SWAT came one night. We got swatted. We got swatted at strip club. You know what swatted is?
No.
Where somebody fakes a fucking call of like to the cops about a gun being like, oh, what they said was the cops got a call and they said there's somebody with a gun behind the strip club. And they send fucking SWAT up the hill. Timmy Leary is behind the bar. No. Timmy Leary is by the back door. And he hears, and he opens it up and he's got a fucking shotgun in his face. We got swatted, bro. It was uncool. What do you
Sweet
drink after you
Timmy?
get swatted?
Poor sweet little Tim.
I haven't thought of that story in a long time. So we were not I was not measuring anything. We opened these restaurants and we were just kind of flying by night, making these cocktails. We did videos about it. I would try to show. I remember shaking this one drink. And I'm like, look at the foam, like, oh. And that was then. And then now I see what y'all are doing. I go to a place like Sandrasan and I see what they're doing with their cocktailists and Blondette and Megan's so good and you're so good and you're so good. Tyler's so fucking good. Like everybody. There's a lot of people that can make a good drink around here. We are blessed with some of the best bars and some of the best, even like companies that make things related to our industry. We're set up here, don't you think?
Also, our guests are requiring that of us now too. I don't know if you can have your same restaurant without the ability to make some cocktails for people. People expect it now.
The bar is raised.
A few years ago, it was fine if like you couldn't order a Negroni, whatever your favorite restaurant is. But now like people want it. They're ready for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so nice when people are trying new shit. I've talked about this. The only restaurant I can get my mind around opening at this point would be something that has no menu. Like you just have to come and submit. You have to submit. Like what the fuck? Don't ask. You don't need to ask for what you want. Sit down and let me take care of you. Go to somebody's house and you say, "Oh, I'd like a steak. What do we have it?" No.
So wait,
you come to my house.
menu.
You get what you get. And we get but with drinks, we can talk about it, right? I love those places without menus. You walk in, I want something spirit forward. I love gin. I love it. Just make something for me.
I think that's actually happening soon in the North Loop. Like there's a guy from Attaboy that's training a bunch of people right now in the old hot dish. So
Attaboy is one of my inspirations for that thought, of course. I went into Attaboy, this little kind of single wide, it's not necessarily a brownstone, it's like a cement stone joint, and they don't let you in. It doesn't look inviting. There's a buzzer, right? You get in there, and there's like 12 seats at the bar or whatever, and a couple booths in the back. My wife and I went there. It was the coolest. I was drunk on the ambiance.
Was it New York or was it Nashville?
New York. Yeah, and I don't feel like they were going to let us in. They ended up letting us in, and there was nobody in there. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, the woman that runs that bar, her name is Haley, and she's from Burnsville, Minnesota.
What?
Yeah.
She's the best.
She's fucking
Shout
awesome.
out to all of you from Burnsville tonight.
If you knock really loud and you say SWAT, they let you in quicker.
Oh. I'm not taking a gun with me anywhere, fam. All right, so one of the other things that really just tickled, one of the things about you that tickled me, Robb. I'm not pregnant. Was your website.
Our current website?
Yeah, no,
that has
wait,
nothing
no,
on
let me
it?
tell the story. You go up into the drop-down area, and it says home and info. Oh, and I'm like, oh, cool, home. I see what it comes up at home. So I'm like, I want some fucking info. And I clicked info, and the page just goes up to the hours. It just goes to the bottom of the page. I think that's fucking brilliant. There is no menu online.
What?
There's no menu online.
No. Only because, kind of because, okay, so it's mostly because I'm lazy. And also, like, I don't know how much it matters. I don't think, so, unless you're maybe over the age of 30, I don't think you're going to websites that often. I think you're just using Google Maps to see what the hours are. And you're like, right? I don't know. I don't use websites. I just look at Reddit before I go to bed. Am I wrong? You guys, should we update our website? Does that matter to people?
No, it's fucking cool.
I pay for the website.
I mean, you at least have a website. It's good.
So what about trajectory for you? I mean, how do you go place 6 in the world and figure out you can do anything other? Like, what do you do now? How do you top that?
How did we just go from his shitty website to my future?
That's what he's got. This is what you have.
I want you to have your own shitty website.
Thanks, bud.
Do you dream about having your own bar? I'll ask it like that.
Go back and forth on the idea of having my own bar. Again, I am really, really excited about the idea of maybe the people who work for me now having their own bars. And maybe I've had something to do with teaching them and guiding them, but then they can have their own bar. And I'll be chilling in the back and like applauding. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
Cool. So it's not necessarily, because do people ask you all the time, what are you going to do next? Now that you open one thing, do you get that question?
I'll keep talking until we fix that, sorry.
Don't much.
I occasionally, I think people are like, you can do anything next. I'm very much just thinking about having a child soon, so I'm kind of, my brain's only focused on that, but yeah, people ask, for sure. I don't think I'd open anything in Minneapolis. The problem is, I think I got so lucky getting a space that can just be a bar that if I have to open a place that is also the restaurant, I'm going to hate it. And part of the reason I never really wanted to open my own thing is everything that goes along with a restaurant versus just a bar. A bar, for me, is easy. I understand it. I understand how everything works in there. I know that I could like make that successful, but I've cooked before and I get that too, but it's just, man, it's like the cost of like putting hoods in a place and like just the startup cost alone is just insane. And then you have to hire so many more people. Being worried about a staff of more than like the staff that I have right now is just like not something I want to get into. But if there's ever a space that's very similar, that's, you know, maybe in a different neighborhood, I would totally consider it. But it's, or a very, very small kitchen, maybe with someone that like wants to like partner and cook food, that I don't have to worry about that part of running it. That would be dope, but I don't know.
So I pick up on, you know, like when I was starting out, I'm like, I just want a bunch of restaurants, you know, and I know it's different for everybody, but I don't want that anymore. I don't want a bunch of restaurants. I can't do it. It's really, really hard. So I'm kind of glad to hear you're not like feeling like you have to be on some prescribed path that we all think you should be on.
I mean, exactly, right? It's such a like product of the empire a little bit where like, what are you going to conquer next? You need more land. You need to like have more things, put your flags in more places. But like, maybe it's okay to be content and to guide the people around you and support them, but not actually just keep sort of claiming more things for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also think like you're so talented that you could probably just do whatever you want. And this is like just a thing I think in general. Anyone that's successful at being in this industry and can do this the right way would absolutely dominate any other industry or field, period. Like this is, I think, the most difficult thing you can ever do. Just the amount of things that are happening. I'm probably wrong. Like being a doctor is probably really fucking hard too. And also like you could kill people by prescribing. I'm absolutely wrong. I'm going to backtrack. Say I don't think. But I bet if I wanted to be a doctor.
We do have a new doctor in the audience to see me.
Where's the new doctor? Congratulations.
And
new doctor.
yes, she's crushing it.
Congratulations.
Do you think, doctor, I'm sorry
Dr.
to embarrass
Murphy.
you. I'm sorry to embarrass you. Listen to what the doctor tells you.
Thank you. Thank you for validating me.
That is very validating. This shit is hard, man. We deal with a
I
lot.
think
And
it's hard.
not just
It's hard to do it
folks.
good.
It's just you got to be good at it. There's a lot of pressure. The variables are moving. Like I said, that's at the top of the show is like the amount of shit that you're responsible for the rhythm of the night. That sounds like a song. It is a song. But what you're don't play it. Never know. Maybe later during the Prosecco thing. I don't even know where I am now.
Well,
it's not even worth it.
It's as hard as we make it,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
it
we
is.
also know plenty of servers and bartenders and line cooks who like clock in and do their thing and clock out and like don't necessarily have a lot of care for it. They come in, they're making their paycheck, and I respect that also. Like if that's like how you want to live or you have other interests, but you know, it's hard for someone like Rob, for someone like you, for someone like me, who like we're trying to push this industry forward. We're trying to make it better, and that's why it's hard. But like we could also just like phone it in.
You know, we never had to think about making the industry better. It was on its way without us trying. And now you have to try so much harder to make the industry better. Not only through competitive things that exist now that are different, but, you know, the things that we've got as our own baggage over the last couple of years.
Were you
too.
referring to all of the new speakeasies that are opening?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a lot of speakeasies.
All the new ones?
Well, you don't know about them because
I don't.
they're secret.
They must be speaking easily about them.
Super secret.
You look for the vagina on the door. That's where it is.
That's the one I'm going into. If there's a penis on that door. Doesn't matter. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
Sorry, I don't actually know how serious of a podcast this is, clearly.
Oh, it is not. And that's why they're here, yes. So we talked a little bit about, you know, this evolution of cocktails. We get here, that's fine. You know, we're trying to make good quality drinks for people. We use our relationships and our connections that we make. Do you know Tony Abu Ghanem, by the way? Do either of you know Tony?
Yeah.
We both met him. Yeah.
Are you fucking serious?
He's a sweet boy.
He judged the cocktail competition that I was in.
Tony Abu Ghanem, speaking of also like trajectory, like Tony Abu Ghanem was the beverage director, the cocktail director at the Bellagio in 1998 when my wife Christy and I moved out to Vegas and opened that thing. And Tony Abu Ghanem was the first person. I'm like, what the fuck is a mixologist? What is that? Nobody knew the word. But he just turned out to be like star-studded. And that whole, you could go work in a casino, Rob. Like Tony, you could do that. Jessi, maybe you're more well-suited for that.
I will say Tony led me on one of the most educational spirits tastings I've ever participated in, because we did a spirits tasting of 8 different vodkas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is like a thing that you don't think about. And it's way easier to taste like, you know, 8 different rums or 8 different tequilas or whatever. But like vodka, you actually have to like get into the nuances of it. And he does that so well and teaches you how to look for those differences.
Yeah, I didn't know really too much about anything about cocktails when I went out there. You know, but this guy was like, you know, here's this Bellini and here's this. We had a master sommelier on premise at all times. And that kind of specificity really led to that quality that we were looking for. And also, you know, I think that's kind of what kept me enthused when you meet people along the way, like Tony's, that kind of spur the thought and make you think about vodka, a clear liquid, very differently, one from another, and there's reasons and so forth. That's the inspiration, one of the inspirations that keeps us going on this quirky little drive of ours.
Those things that, can make you think about something you hadn't thought about are the best, right? Those are the things that keep us coming back.
That's
it's
right.
Like somebody like Tony going like, hey, taste 8 different vodkas and talk about it. Like that gets you excited and you want to keep coming back to it.
He's really cool. Do you have any other people like Tony that maybe serve as an inspiration to you? Do you read about specific bartenders, or is there a book or two that you lean on for, your wealth?
Okay, so I'll take it back to our punches, because this is my favorite brag. This is my favorite industry brag, is that I learned how to make punch from a man named Jim Meehan, who's a very famous bartender. But one of the reasons I love punch, and when we were talking about, punch versus a cocktail, is he like very clearly differentiates them. And he told me that the mistake everybody makes, you make a punch and your punch is off balance, and what do? You add more crap to it, right? You're like, it needs more citrus, or it needs more sugar, or it needs more of this, but like actually you just add more water to it. Punches just need a ton of dilution, and so that's how you make your punch better. And that's my brag, my Jim Meehan brag.
Yeah, Jim Meehan. And then you mentioned that you also got a chance to work with the beverage director at the Dead Rabbit in New York.
Yeah,
how
Aiden
cool
Bowie.
is that?
Yeah, during the World Class competition last year, actually, I had the pleasure of having the beverage director for Dead Rabbit, which is truly one of the greatest bars in the world, was my bar back. And there's nothing that makes you feel weirder than that.
It's like having Emerald as your sous chef or some shit.
Exactly. I knocked my strainers into the garbage can, and I was really busy, and Aiden just dug in there for my strainers in the garbage. I was like, I'm so sorry.
I got intimidated numerous times when Marcus Samuelson would bring chefs from out of town, and having had to work with folks like that, you just, it's kind of amazing they end up just being humans. You put their fame in the way of them being the human, and they're just waiting to talk to you like normal fucking people. But that was a good lesson for me because, somebody like Charlie Trotter, you don't want to approach. I was taught to be inobtrusive. You be inobtrusive. And that's, this is not that. This is not a practice in that. But being inobtrusive is really hard and hiding. Who do you find as an inspiration, bud? You still reading about drinks? You still kind of
originally, so my first kind of bar mentor was Toby Maloney, who actually we had the pleasure of hosting at Meteor because he was doing a little book signing tour thing. He was one of the original bartenders at Milk and Honey, which is now Attaboy. And I have the pleasure, and I was lucky enough to just come into this industry not bartending at all before and just being trained by someone who kind of had already done all of the science and the work behind it and was just able to show me how to make a balanced cocktail. So that was great. So yeah, Toby for sure. And then the people that you get to meet because of that, there's this. We've been going to Chicago quite a bit lately, and I'm just still kind of inspired by some of the cool stuff that's happening there, and it's so close, and it's great. And whenever I go back to the Violet Hour, or I was lucky enough to be kind of dropped off and inserted into that community via Toby, and a lot of those people really took me under their wing and were responsible for me being able to do some of the things I did later, like be part of the Cocktail Apprentice program that Jessi and I both did, Tales of the Cocktail.
Killer.
And I think that leads to even more great things, you know what I mean? The people you get to meet there, that's where I met Aiden. We red coded together, you know what I mean? It's just so cool to see all of those people doing really cool stuff still too. And just that community in general. It's the CAP community was so strong for a while and so together. But yeah, a lot of that's, maybe it's because I don't use Facebook anymore. Maybe people are still doing that, but I don't know, maybe they're still active, but Who
Will you
knows?
be on there soon showing your kid off?
No, not on Facebook. No.
Do you guys feel like you act as therapists at all? Is the people still kind of looking to y'all to solve their problems? They want to talk to you. Do they download their deepest thoughts on you still, or are people kind of clammed up after this COVID thing? Are they?
I mean, I'm finding that leading a team, it truly is the most challenging thing that's possible. And so less so than the guests. You know, the guests you can kind of, you know, your relationship is a little bit superficial. I mean, unless you choose to make it not. But when you're leading a team, like you're managing people, yeah, you are managing their emotions too, and you can't lead everyone in the same way. So you have to kind of take on that emotional labor of making yourself into what they need as a leader, you know.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off of that. And I think just this industry and the people that are coming into it now are more emotional than what I was used to. But I'm also old. And I worked in a kitchen for 10 years back when kitchens were like, you know, like it was fucking brutal. Yeah. So it took me a long time to kind of mellow out from that experience. But I think the kids, for lack of a better term, that are coming into this industry now are like, it's just different, and you do have to manage them differently because but a lot of shit has happened. You know what I mean? I'm more aware of them and managing them, like their feelings and emotions, than I ever have been. And maybe I always should have done that, and I just probably should have. But.
No, there's a big compassion shift for me after. You know, I'm a compassionate person, but there's a huge compassion shift after what happened, and I kind of accepting way more about what's happening that I don't know from the outside as people come in. I think people are actually a little quieter. I think they're a little quieter. But, you know, I'm just looking for that, you know, moment to get them open back up a little bit. And I see the positive. I think things are really coming back out now that the weather's changed and all that, and I'm really seeing that positivity in the summer air filling us up. I'm glad, though, that you all don't have to deal with other people's problems as deeply as they have problems. But the people that we work with these days, you know, making sure that they have a comfortable work environment, like you say, that starts everything. I know, Jessi, it's very different for you. And I look at Robb and I ask him how he is at work. You know, Robb is Robb at work, you know, and I suspect you are you at work, but like you say, you definitely have, you're in a relatively formal environment, right? Do you feel like it's a formal environment?
Yeah, I've always, I was very nervous when I began at Spoon and Stable because I do not consider myself a fancy person. But I was worried that I would kind of have to put on a certain mask and do the servant serving an anonymous person thing. And the reason that I've stayed there so many years is because I don't feel like I have to do that, even though, we have these kind of elevated steps of service. We do a lot of things to make sure that everything is precise and perfect. But again, just my cocktails, we make them with precision, but they're real simple ingredients. And I feel the same way about myself behind the bars. I'm going to be me. And I mean, I've got a couple of bar regulars here who could tell you that I make fun of them so much that I don't know why they keep coming back, but they do, and Amazing. We have we've built that relationship. And so, I'm lucky in my spot that I don't feel like I have to pretend to be anybody that I'm not.
That's really cool. When I worked at Aquavit, I felt like I did, of course. I had a tie on and this and that. I'm just kind of, suit every day. I wear a suit every day to the restaurant. I have fucking Birks on, man. This is the way to go.
A hippie.
I am a hippie.
I know.
I am a hippie. Fuck it.
Socks and Birks. We were talking about you
Socks and
earlier.
Birks.
We felt overdressed. We were not in our socks and Birks.
Do you think that people that sit at bars, though, when they go to restaurants, it's that's kind of the safe zone. You go to the bar because you're expecting a little bit more, you want a little bit more energy, right? And less of the formality, I think. The hardest guests, I think, when I was working the bar there, were the ones that were forced to sit at the bar but wanted to sit at a table, because then you have to put on the server persona. You know what I mean? It's very, very formal. And it's oh shit, they want a bottle of wine. Okay, hold on. Let me go climb this fucking ladder. I'll be back in 25 minutes. Look through the book, like screaming for the fucking wine director. Ah, help, please. Please, someone get this bottle of wine for me. That was me anyway. I didn't.
Yeah, but that hits the heart of hospitality too, though, right? It's like you talk to your guests, you read them, and then you just give them what it is that they want. And so, yeah, most of the time we're lucky we're at the bar, we're like shooting the shit with our guests, and like because that's what they want. But like, hopefully, if you have an experience and you're good at what you do, you can like see like, oh, you want that fancy bottle of wine, and you want me to present it to you in that fancy way, and then you just
It's also
you
nice
do
to
that.
sell a $300 bottle of wine for the
Exactly.
the bankroll.
Yeah. I miss the fine dining part of things. I kind of do. I kind of miss the formality. But, I think it's somewhat passe, but there's always places. And being fancy and getting dressed up and going out to eat is part of the celebration of what we do, or an actual celebration. Y'all very much provide this town with good times, and I thank you for that. That is, I think, exactly what it's supposed to be. Hospitality in its truest form is just to make sure that the person that's joining you is having a good time. It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. But because you're so good at what you do, there's quality and there's all these other things you have to think about before you put them on the table. God bless you guys. God bless you guys.
I think
All
it's
right.
cool that we get to be in a space where we are with people like I don't know. I think about our doctor here who's with people who are having probably a real bad day. And we get to spend the majority of our time with people who are celebrating something or who are just like having good times with friends, It's such what a treat to like spend your time in a space where people are there to enjoy themselves,
Yeah, and
like
the
for
energy
that purpose.
rolls in with the guests.
Exactly.
The energy rolls in with the guests. And you can set the tone by having that positivity behind the scenes, but the energy rolls in with the guests. And if they can pick up on yours, that's the way to have it be. I think I'm going to... I have so many things I didn't talk about here, but we're already bumping up on time. But I thought maybe... And thanks for your time. And I thought maybe, though, if there were a question or two that you feel like you want to ask Robb or Jessi, that you should. And if you don't have a question for them, that's fine, too. I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot, but you have access, and so I'm offering it further. If you feel like you want to jump in and ask them something, you can. I'll give you a minute to consider that. Rob, nobody's got any questions for you.
Wait, what? Pardon me?
Nobody's got any questions for you, Rob.
Nobody has any questions for me? Does anyone have any questions for me?
There we go.
If you were just gonna go out to a random bar, what would be your go-to drink that you order? Besides the daiquiri.
So besides a daiquiri, okay. If I was gonna go to a bar, just a random bar, like not a cocktail bar, like just like.
Like your safe drink, if you don't know how good
Oh sure. I used to have a system for this, and I just gave up. It'll be tequila probably, like a glass of tequila and like some water, maybe a beer. Probably not a beer though. Tequila soda. I've been drinking a lot of those lately. I really like agave distillate, so it's gonna be mezcal or tequila, depending on where I'm at. A lot of places have mezcal now. It's amazing. It used to be so hard to get mezcal in your mouths. Now you guys all just want to drink it all the time. It's great.
What do you drink?
Yeah,
What do
I
you-
feel like I often describe it to people as, like you're hosting a dinner party and you spend all day cooking, and by the time it's time to eat dinner, you just like really do not want to eat that food anymore. Because I taste a lot of cocktails in development or judging competitions or just, while I'm working the service while I'm tasting cocktails. So I find Lord, I don't want to drink a cocktail most of the time. So I like a shitty domestic beer, or I like a scotch and soda for the most part.
Killer. I drink seltzers. Florida seltzers. You've ever had Florida seltzers? It's the Untitled Art out of Wisconsin. They're actually delicious.
What's a Florida seltzer?
Florida seltzers. The Untitled Art is this brewery in Wisconsin, and they make a thing called Florida seltzers, and they actually have flavor. It's natural. It doesn't taste fake. It's delicious.
Cool. I'm in.
And that's what I can't drink too much tequila because I get like this.
Yeah, I know.
All right. Hey, so friends, anything else you want to ask of us this evening? Any other questions for these two? My man.
Jeffrey.
Dude, okay, so Meteor, were you grandfathered into the system? Like when you said that, that location is unique for being a bar versus restaurant.
Yeah. Is there anyone from the Department of Health or here right now? I know. So, I have to show 3 things on a menu that can be considered like a meal. So it started out with 2 pizzas and. Does anyone remember waffles? We did fucking waffles, which is also a nightmare. It's like telling a bartender they have to prep waffle batter every day. It was messy. It was so messy. But they were kind of good. They never really worked the way they were supposed to. So that's all I had to do. Essentially, the building's been the same thing forever. I got lucky with a lot of things. Some of the things I wish I could change if I had the money, like ADA stuff, if I could afford doing that. But once you do that, it's like if you do one little thing, you trigger this remodel thing, and then all of a sudden you're in for $1 million. And there's no way I could have opened with less than or more than what I had at the time. So I got really lucky. And that's the thing. It's there's not a lot of those places anymore because Minneapolis fucking destroyed all their cool old spaces. Especially this period during the 80s, some of the buildings they built that they're actually destroying now. It's ridiculous. But
You mean just the buildings themselves?
yeah, instead of expanding out, we just no, let's just knock this down. It's been here too long. There's no one's ever going to revitalize this. But it sucks. There's some of them, but there's one guy who owns 90% of them. So it's I'm gonna help with that. I don't know if that's controversial or not, but sorry.
Not for him.
I'm not worried. But, yeah. It's hard, to have the bars that we want, because I know every fucking bartender in this town wants to have a bar that's a bar, but we just can't. That's why Chicago's so great. That's why maybe we think about looking outwards to other cities, and we do the thing that the Attaboy did and Mother's Ruin did, where it's you have one in New York, you have one in Nashville, you have one, just do that, and it's the same concept. If it works, it'll work somewhere else probably. It's just drinks. It's easy. It's at the end of the day. That makes it so easy.
Do you think that has, there's some of the old laws and the way that they handled things here lead to the fact that we aren't a bar or food culture? Do you think that these laws have actually kind of kept us back?
I maybe from being, I still, there's still this idea that we're flyover country. Jessi just did the coolest fucking thing you could ever do in this industry. Literally, seriously, she judged Speed Rack, and it was I was getting mad at the crowd because they were not respecting her judgment. They were who the fuck is this girl? She fucking won world class. She's amazing. And it's there's this idea that Minneapolis for some reason is just flyover country for cocktails. I think the food scene is developing and people understand it for that, but then we have so much great talent here. I think we peaked. There's more happening again, but I think we peaked cocktail wise. I think it was pre-pandemic. I think it was 5 years before that personally. I think the creativity was at a different level, and I think the people who actually gave a shit that were doing this, there was just this robust culture that we had. And maybe it's just because I'm out of touch and I don't go out that much anymore, and I'm totally wrong. I know there is a lot of really great stuff, and I'm not shitting on anything anyone's doing. There's a lot of really great stuff, but it just seems it's, I don't know, there's just a lot of cut and paste
we were
stuff right
stopped in our tracks, and so we're just picking up the pieces and kind of finding them again. I really believe that, it kind of everything was on hold. What was a trend when nothing was happening?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we got a momentum, and then I think we lost it, and we'll grab it again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think everything's coming back. We're gonna be good.
All right, anything else from you out there? Yeah.
What are your hot takes on mocktails or things without spirits to feel like you're not just having juice or soda as a pregnant mom who would love to have a margarita or something that's not just juice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, good.
We probably share the same view on this.
Yeah, I think so. I'm so excited about this movement. I hate to use the word trend because that doesn't really feel appropriate, but the movement toward making non-alcoholic good drinks accessible in bars. At the end of the day, Robb said, like, the bar is not about the drinks. That's true. The bar is about making people feel welcome and seen and giving them a place to gather and to get whatever it is that they're looking for. It might just be a hot dog, or it might be like some, getting to see a friend they haven't seen in a long time, or it might be a chance to celebrate. It might be a chance to be sad somewhere, whatever. Bars are supposed to be for the people. And so by providing non-alcoholic drinks for everyone, and especially providing them in a way that, like at Spoon and Stable, we make non-alcoholic cocktails that come in beautiful glassware and they have beautiful garnishes, because I don't want you to feel weird for ordering that. You want a grown-up drink, have a grown-up drink. It just doesn't have alcohol. So I'm so excited to see where this is going, and I don't think it's a trend. I think it's just going to keep moving forward and make bars more accessible to more people.
It's funny because, like, when you say the term like soft drinks now, like soft drinks just refer to soda, but like that's what a soft drink is. It's a hard alcohol. There's hard drinks and there's soft drinks. Been around forever. They just turn into soda. You know what I mean? Like people.
So
super important.
The NA bottle shop that just opened, if I could shout them out, for Marigold, right? And they're expanding, I heard, like already. And then apparently there's a few more of these shops, these NA shops opening up. And this is a couple of years ago. I was like, hey, if you're not respecting vegetarians and people who don't drink booze, you're not doing it right anymore. Like, you can't do that. You can't do that. Some people do, but I can't do that. You got to make sure there's vegetarian food, if not vegan. You got to make sure there's NA. Do you want THC drinks in your bars, in your places? Who said that?
So
I was going to ask that question.
Ask it.
I want the laws in Minnesota to become more clear, is what I want.
yeah, I want my insurance provider to tell me that it's okay before I do it, because I have liquor liability insurance, but I don't have THC liability insurance. So if somebody has been out partying all night and comes to my bar, which closes at 2 a.m, and they have one THC beverage that I serve them, and they go kill somebody in their car, it's going to come back to me, but I don't have insurance to cover it because they consumed a THC beverage instead of
But it's
alcohol.
a wellness product.
I'm pro fucking THC shit. I think it's amazing what we're doing, but I'm not gonna. We sell them to go right now, and we trust that people are gonna take them to go. There's some cool ones, like take them to go, but like I don't know, man. Personally, I don't know. Just have a cocktail and chill at the bar.
Oh, I thought you were going to say smoke a joint.
Like, how long are you gonna drink it? Because every space at my bar is like you're renting it, right? So, if I charge, I don't know, man. I just also don't want a bunch of fucking mellow motherfuckers sitting at my bar. I want to fucking party, I want a nice vibe. And I know you can do both, but whatever. I don't know. I'm old too, and I don't know. I don't want to change anything.
You're not that old.
Okay.
Do you sell THC drinks at the Spoon?
We do not. And again, I just if I were in a different state, I might, but I want resources. I want to know exactly what the rules are. I want resources to be able to train my employees. Right now, I have training that I do on here are the signs that we look for alcohol intoxication, and here are the steps we take. I don't have those resources for anything besides alcohol, essentially, so I don't feel ready to serve something that I don't feel really confident that I know how to deal with the consequences of serving it.
Yeah. For me, it was one of those things that I considered. The tinctures and things maybe have a little bit more actual flavor. It's not like a lemon lime seltzer or whatever. And for me, it was mostly about if it tastes good, cool, but you can get high on your own. This is a restaurant, bro. I need you to stick with me here. I need you to, food's coming. And you got to go. There's people behind you.
We'll see what happens in a couple of years. If they there's like a easier way to make distribution make sense. And like, I know there's like some people that are just doing, like, what is it? There's like just THC spirits you can buy now. You can just like make a cocktail with it, and like, that's fine. But it's like, it's just like a lot of, I gotta train, like you said, you gotta train your staff. Like, how do we make this? How do we control it? Like, what are we doing with it? Like, how much does it cost? Where do I store it? Like,
As soon as we know exactly what our liability is, as soon as we have the resources to support us, then I'm down to explore that. But not until I feel safe as someone who's providing products to consumers.
Yeah. People just walk outside and get high anyway, and they come back in. And,
oh yeah, like that's
more
out,
popular.
If you come to Meteor any night at like around midnight, like you could just walk through the neighborhood and you're gonna get fucking stoned.
The waft.
Like,
all right. Hey, this has been great. I'm so appreciative. I really like you too. You're a new friend. Can I call you a friend? Can I call you a friend?
I think you can call me a friend. Yeah.
All right, friend. You're a new friend, and I saw you at work, and I saw the work and then and it was cool, and I'm like, wow, this is so fucking cool. But then I met you for coffee, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is
she's
Jessi.
a real person. I know.
She's
It's
a
just
real
like we were talking
person.
about.
'Cause
She's
we
not
get-
just famous.
Well,
It's-
yes, you're also like behind a bar, like you say, and you're captive, and you have to act a certain way, and then just really nice to get to know you and understand you as you are. Pleasure
Likewise.
to meet you, Jessi.
Thank you.
And Rob, did you work at McDonald's?
Yeah, my first job.
Me too.
McDonald's.
I
Yeah.
remember us talking about that.
15 years old.
Me too.
Yeah. I rode my bike to Walmart. There was a McDonald's there.
Oh wow, you had a Walmart at McDonald's? Like one of those kiosk ones?
Yeah, we didn't have shakes. We only had ice cream cones. We didn't have quarter pounders. We had to make triple cheeseburgers. That's about it. That's the only differences though. So if you guys ever go to a Walmart, McDonald's, just know that going in. Don't be mean. Don't be mean to the 15-year-old kid because you can't get a fucking milkshake. He's 15 years old and he rode his bike there, and he's not gonna put up with your bullshit. Like, I'm not gonna make the fucking rules at Walmart, McDonald's.
You do make the rules now at your own bar, buddy.
Yep.
Damn
No
it.
shakes.
Damn it. Okay. Well, again, everyone, thank you so much for spending some time with us here. Jessi Pollak, Robb.
Thank you.
One last. Oh no, you're done. It's a thank you again, my admiration, my appreciation, and thanks so much for hanging out here for this. This means a ton to me. I hope to keep doing this as long as I can. I thank Matt from Gleam Tower Media, but also just Matt, my friend, who heard me when I said I want to do something and pushes me and keeps me on track. And I couldn't do this without you, buddy. I really, really appreciate it. Honored to be your friends. And then, again, Brad, but Sasha and LK, my daughter, and Christy helped me check you all in. So just a little thanks to them too. And then Reed and Brian as DJ. Reed over here taking photos of us. Please, just one more round. And this has been Niver Niver Land live. Thank you so much. There's Prosecco over here. Let's mingle.